Welcome to this week's episode of Coffee with a Journalist, brought to you by One Pitch. The guests on our show include some of the most notable journalists who write about topics ranging from technology to lifestyle and culture, health, and science. We discuss the types of stories they cover, their thoughts on exclusives and embargoes, their favorite pitches, and how they connect with sources. Head to onepitch.co and look for the video page to learn more about our new video series featuring journalists from the show. Our guest this week on Coffee with the Journalist is Collette Reitz. Collette is a news editor at Elite Daily, where she's in charge of assigning and editing trending news coverage of all things food, viral, tech, social media, and travel. She also oversees Elite Daily's Life Behind the Likes and Chef's Kiss monthly content series. During the episode, Collette shares her thoughts on pitches labeled as exclusive, why it's important to include dates in your subject lines, her thoughts on brand recognition versus quality products, and more. Let's hear from Collette now.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Beck Bamberger. This is Coffee with a Journalist. We are so excited today because, coming from us from Elite Daily, I think this is our first time with Elite Daily, which is part of the Bustle Digital Group, is news editor of Elite Daily, Collette Reitz. She is here to fill us in on all the stuff with pitches and what she likes and so forth. Collette, welcome, and thanks for being here.
Hi, Beck. Thanks so much for having me.
This will be fun, I am sure, because you get to cover a lot of fun stuff. Actually, I like to start now with, for anyone, and even when it's like the New York Times, how would you describe Elite Daily?
So Elite Daily is for a Gen Z audience. We always say our readers are young women and femmes, very on the younger end, like 18 to 24. Either they're in college or working their first job. They're very up with, tech and social media, and basically super trendy. So that's sort of how we think of who's reading us.
Okay. So that informs then the pitches. I do like to talk, of course, about your inbox. How is it in there, specifically with pitches?
A lot. Too much.
Too much, yeah. Okay, no, then what's your system? It's very rare that anyone ever has been on the show and they're like, it's okay. No.
Yeah,
it's disaster, it's bad, it's overwhelming, etc. Go ahead.
I think it was the beginning of this year, I attempted to be an inbox zero person, but I just found it wasn't like a great use of my time. So I'd rather just because I get a lot of pitches, honestly. I think I wound up on a lot of listservs that I don't know how I got there. So leaving those unread no longer bothers me. And I try to utilize labels to keep track of pitches because, I cover food, tech, travel somewhat, social media. So I like to keep labels in my inbox. And so even if something's unread, I can go to a label and still find it. And I do a lot of searching in my inbox. Like I'll just search, and if it's basically, I see all the headlines. And then if I see something that I remember and I'm like, oh, let me search this term. And then I find the email.
That is a common technique we have found with journalists. They use their inbox as their own personal Google to find stuff. Yes. Okay, so is your labeling technique, though, at all helpful? I've heard people just say, like, I started labeling, but that doesn't really help.
I would say, it's funny. I think I probably agree with them. It's helpful in terms of, like, say it's like a really slow news day and I just go check all of my tabs, then maybe I can find something that is something we'd write about, but, it wasn't urgent enough that I was like, we need to put this on the docket. So I find it can be helpful that way. But in general, I have the brands that we cover a lot, so I'm always in touch with their PR people. The one thing I do like, and I don't even keep a tab for this, but I keep a running list for myself, is embargoes.
Oh, we do talk about embargoes and exclusives on here. So, okay, open that up. Embargoes you like?
I like embargoes. I like a date in the headline. I don't like just embargo because honestly, we're getting so many, and it's nice if you can just plan. Like personally, if this embargo was a week from now, I might leave that email unread for a second because I know I have time in terms of like daily hits, like product announcements or something like that, something that's not too intensive. Yeah, an embargo, all caps at the top. I like all caps embargo with a date and then specified in the email like in bold or red. It's always great when you have the date and time. And if you just send along the assets, that's always really great too.
The date in the headline, I have not heard, or in the subject line, I haven't heard that necessarily before. That's a great tip. Do you ever get exclusives?
Exclusives, I think, are less common in terms of a true exclusive. And when I was younger, starting out, I would, really be enticed by seeing an exclusive in the headline. I'm like, oh my gosh, what did we just get? And then you read it and you're like, oh, this isn't an exclusive.
Yeah. Tell us, for everybody, because this is a wide topic, what to you isn't a true exclusive?
I mean, exclusive to me, in terms of what we cover, we do a lot of, trending food, trending products. So I know that we'll likely not be the only person covering it. But if you say you can post at 7 a.m. and everyone else is going to get this press release at 10 a.m., like that's, we have we can throw it on our Instagram, throw it on our Facebook if social thinks that's a fit. Yeah, something where you can get like a big lead on the other outlets. And then, of course, something where you're only talking to one person and they're not talking to anyone else.
Yes. 1-to-1 is the rule. But how this gets confused boggles the mind sometimes. So there's that. Okay. For a really good pitch, Collette, that you're like, yes, I want to respond to that. What does that include?
It has to include what the news is. I know that sounds like obvious, but it truly, sometimes I'll get a pitch that's just like a sentence. And it's like, hey, I have this cool product coming up and it's from, TK brand. And then that's it. And I'm like, I don't really know what the news is.
Wait. That's the whole pitch? Pitch.
It's not like as common, but I get it enough where I'm like, I don't even know what I could build around this. And I'm not going to go do research myself on it.
No, too much work.
So, right at the top, right in the subject line, let me know what the new news is. Let me know what the brand is. I think the subject line, the best thing to have in there is the news, the brand, and a date. Again, I'm trending news.
Brand,
so
date.
I'm trending news. So we're doing a lot of daily coverage and my docket is like, loose and we're, try to be nimble and cover what people are talking about. So I like to have the dates in there because I keep track of all the embargoes as well. So have your date, have what the news is, be clear on if it's new. There's a lot of times where you'll get something and it's not new, it's returning, or it's slightly different than something that existed. Yeah, and have high-res images. If you're selling a product or a food image, please have them like right away. Most people are good with this, but sometimes I find it a little odd that I have to ask for images if I'm going to be writing about your product.
And what kind of images do you get? Like crap sometimes where they're like, oh, wait a second. Yeah, we got this one that we took 4 years ago. Does that ever happen?
Well, there will be some that they're just not as high res and there maybe will be attached or embedded in the email. It's not as common. Like usually when I follow up and I ask for high res images, they've planned for this release. So they've taken good photos. So I know they exist. It's just on the off chance when you have to like circle back and ask, it sounds like I might be complaining, but it's like, it's another moment in your day where I can't just like forward this to a writer and be like, oh, they'll be like, oh, there's no images. And then it's like, you have to go back and forth.
Wonk, wonk. With images, I know this has been debated and talked about. Do you like them attached? Do you want to link to a Google Drive? Do you want to see it in a Dropbox? Do you have any preference for how those images or other assets are sent to you?
I'm not too picky in terms of how they get to me. Like a Google Drive is fine. I guess specifically something I can just share with my writer that they won't also need a login. Because as an editor, I'm not doing a lot of the coverage. So I don't want to run into that obstacle.
Yes. Easy, no login. I've sent stuff because I do travel writing for Forbes. And then they'll send me like, oh yeah, here's your file, but it has this password and this thing. And I'm like, why? What is happening? Yeah. It's just not, no, I don't want to do another login or sign up for a thing or all the stuff. No, got it. Okay, Collette, you sent us in some subject lines you love. Do you remember these ones? Or I could tell you what you sent us.
I think I do remember.
Okay. The first one is an embargo. So tell us what you like about this one. It's about Bud Light.
Yeah. So this was one that embargo is usually something I will look at because it, one, means I have time to plan for it. And two, it's generally a brand that our readers are interested in. Just the embargoes I'm served generally.
Yes.
And this one, this is funny. We actually didn't, and this is sort of the way that your editorial calendar works is we didn't actually have the bandwidth to cover this one and yet. Possibly we still will. But it was something where it's like, oh, these are brand new flavors. We have a chance to try it so we can post with a review. But then, like, unfortunately, some other things overtook our day that day and we didn't get to it. So I still have that one sort of bubbling. But yeah, what I really liked about it was the embargo. Again, I think I said I would have preferred the date. Like, I love the date. It's just, it's so nice to know because, again, as I'm reading my emails, as I'm reading my emails, I'm already, toying with like 5 other ideas that I'm covering today. So if this embargo doesn't lift for 2 weeks, I'm not worrying about it right now.
Yep. And just to read it out for everybody so that they can hear what the actual subject line was, it was under embargo, all caps, exclusive first taste of Bud Light Seltzer's new fall innovation, and it's not pumpkin spice.
Right. And the exclusive there did not. I know it's not exclusive, but I do like being able to get the early taste. And that was nice that they did not pumpkin spice. I like that. Yeah,
because you could have been like, oh God. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You sent us another one too. And we know you like the buy one, get one free offers and all the good shopping deals and stuff. So what attracted you to this next one? Do you know which one I'm talking about? The Target one?
Yeah, do you want to read it out?
Yes, here it is. Target holiday announcement. Return of deal days, holiday price match guarantee, and more. Ooh, right. Now this is a fabulous big brand, but okay, what caught your attention?
So deal days is something we've seen success with in the past. And also it's just, honestly, I liked it because it let me know, like, this is like the canary in the coal mine. Like, we're in holiday season. Like, we are here. It is time to start planning. Forget your pumpkin spice. Peppermint mocha's coming. Yeah. So I liked that. And also a lot of these brands, they change up the terminology sometimes every year. So I was like, okay, I need to like read into this, see what Black Friday might look like. Like saying Black Friday already is stressing me out, but you can't avoid it. It comes. Yeah. So I just like that I was getting a lot of information and it was able to help me prep / cover the news of the day that they were giving me.
Got it. Okay. Now I could see some people saying like, oh, well, I don't represent Bud Light or Target. I have this little dorky brand here that I'm just trying to help out.
Today's interview will continue after this brief message brought to you by One Pitch. Are you curious to see the unique ways One Pitch helps PR professionals and marketers pitch journalists? Head to onepitch.co to learn about our new One Pitch score and see how easy it is to find the right journalist to pitch your news to. Sign up for your free account today. Now, back to today's episode.
Do you care about the size, the notoriety of the brand?
I mean, I think brand recognition is important, but having a good product is important too. So
yes.
I think even if you're a smaller brand and you have something like we covered a smaller chocolate brand earlier this year, or maybe a few weeks ago, and they had like a candy corn flavored chocolate. And like, that was enough I'm like, candy corn is divisive. They have a box of chocolates, but it wasn't the only flavor. So they had like a caramel and a peanut butter too. Okay. But, it was all in the midst of this, it's corn kid. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is kind of a fun moment. And it was fun, I was like, we'll try it. We'll see. We'll see what people, candy corn is something people will always talk about and have an opinion on. And I've never seen it really mixed with chocolate and like a fun little aesthetic bite like this. So that was a brand that it's not like Hershey's or anything like that. That I was like, let's try it.
I do love a candy corn.
But okay, you're pro candy corn.
I am pro. And you know what? Specifically the pumpkins. The pumpkins are, you just eat one, you're good. Don't eat 5.
Yeah.
You eat one, you're good. My sister and I actually mail each other a bag of the pumpkin candy corns every year.
Oh, I love it.
In a weird
just an identical
tradition.
Swap.
Just an identical swap. Yep. And obviously any one of us could go and buy our own damn bag. But the point is, it's just a little sister exchange. We know it's coming every year. It's just a cute thing. So anyway, the pumpkin rolls deep for us. Anyway, Collette, how about we do a little fill in the blank section, if that sounds good?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. My favorite sources always.
I kind of talked about this, but I said provide details and high-res images. I love that for my daily hits. And then for expert-based pieces, I always like an expert who is keeping our demo in mind.
Mm-hmm. You'll never get a response from me if
you try to secure coverage for an embargo 2 weeks from the embargo date for like a very run-of-the-mill release. That is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. If you send me, like today's October 11th, if you say, and I've gotten this before where it's like embargo November 5th, and then they'll follow up tomorrow. Do you think you'll be able to cover? And I'm like, I have no idea what my editorial calendar for daily hits is going to look like on November 5th. So like, I'll kindly send one response saying that. But then if you reply again, no, I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. Next thing. Let's go down to the appropriate amount of lead time for a story is, which you kind of talked on, but let's say it's a it's not embargo. It's just a story. What's your preferred lead time?
I would say 48 hours for, just a daily hit. I think that's appropriate. I mean, we've done day of, but it's like you only have so many writers and so many hours in the day. So it's nice to know what's coming.
Yes. And my favorite stories to write are
interviews with people who can shed light on something that affects your daily life. Like we did an iPhone camera story where we talked to a photographer who uses her iPhone a lot, and she sort of dove into like what camera features actually make an upgrade worth it. And kind of revealed like the 11 Pro still has those 3 lenses and you can get all of this. Like, I just think it's interesting to be able to share that perspective, especially with our demo who, probably isn't upgrading their phone annually.
Yes.
And then I like fun viral moments, like the corn kid or like reviewing some fun trending food.
Mm-hmm. Okay, food. She likes food, everybody. That's good to know. Collette, what are you reading, watching, consuming, Netflixing? We'll take any version of storytelling. What you got?
I recently read a book called What Would Frida Do by Ariana Davis.
Yes, we had her on our BAM book jam. Yes.
Oh, did you?
Yes, she is so lovely. She's a former reporter or I don't know. She still maybe, I think, is a reporter.
Yeah, I had like a dearth of Frida Kahlo knowledge, and I got this book in, I want to say, a press package for Latinx Heritage Month. And I was like, oh, perfect. It was so good. It was such a great entry into her life and, mixed with Ariana's take and her, how she viewed Frida. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was a fun interview too. Okay, anything else?
I mean, Abbott Elementary is back, so I am watching that weekly.
It is?
Yes. You can binge a little because there's like 3 episodes, I think.
Oh, how exciting. I thought that was the most charming damn show. I loved it. Oh, that is so exciting. Yay. This is why I do the show, Collette. I get all my updates from media.
Quinta Brunson it's such a perfect take on like the Parks and Rec and The Office, like the mockumentary.
Yes.
And then, I mean, I always throw on some Bravo too. I can't avoid it.
You can't help. Whatever happened to the only stuff I would watch on Bravo just is Millionaire Listing. Is that ever coming back? Do you know anything about this?
I think they have it. I think they have like a ton of cities.
Okay. I thought it was just LA and New York. Okay. I need to look back up on the shenanigans of that. I just like to see how they sold these ridiculous homes. Okay. There's that. Collette, what do you think the future of journalism is looking like? And especially, what would you maybe tell your readership about it?
Right.
Right.
It's evolving. Right. I mean, on our site, for example, we lean into so many different areas.
Yes.
And I think those times when you can like dig deep and give something beyond the daily hits in conjunction with keeping them up on the news, the things that they're looking at every day on Instagram, I think it's valuable to combine those, and it's what keeps people coming back. And additionally, the impact of social media, I think, is already huge, not only informing stories, but spreading stories. Like when I interviewed writers for a position at Elite Daily, they used to be timid to say they would like look at Twitter or Instagram. And, not as like their main news source, but I was like, it's really valid as a jumping off point. Like there's plenty of things I see trending or I see on Instagram, and then I go and see what's really happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then more and more TikTok is becoming a place where Gen Z is like searching so many things. I think they said like 40% of Gen Z like uses it like a search engine.
Yes. Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah. So it's like the effect of social media basically setting trends and also spreading the news is something I think to keep an eye on.
Yes. And does that, well, back to the question of what you would tell your demographic, would you say to anyone who is maybe, 19 going into college, say like, yeah, get into journalism?
Yeah, I think it's an exciting time and an exciting space because there's so many ways. It's not rigid anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's so there's so many ways to make it your own, to bring your own view to it, to, provide good information still, but doing it in really unique and interesting ways. There's so many different platforms, like even with Elite Daily, we have TikTok, we have Instagram, we're on all the socials. So there's so many places to do it. And there's so many different ways to get creative with it.
There is. I always think the storytelling is never going anywhere. That has been the test of time for thousands and thousands of years. The form in which it happens is ever evolving. And to your point, what an exciting time to get in there.
Right. Change can be scary, but it's like, it's happening. So it might as well. I mean, I think I read somewhere that like YouTube is also like the number one within Gen Z. Like people are watching YouTube a lot. So yeah, as you said, the platforms. Me. Yeah, I know. I was surprised by that too.
I feel like YouTube is a little like MySpacey. I don't know.
But then I sort of thought, because of the age of Gen Z, I was like, maybe it's because they grew up as like when I was younger, I'm a millennial, an older millennial.
Yeah, me too.
Or like middle millennial.
I'm an elder myself, yes.
Yeah, my mom would like stick me in front of Barney in front of the TV. But like when they were growing up, it's like
YouTube.
Their parents had YouTube on their phones. So like they've grown up with YouTube kind of, is sort of what I was thinking.
It's their retro version of cable.
Right? Yes. Wow. The shorter commercials, though, they're lucky.
That's true. That's true. Well, Collette, thank you for being on today. You are the fabulous news editor of Elite Daily, which is part of the Bustle Digital Group, just for everyone to know, which is a huge empire of many different media outlets, which we'll be covering more here on Coffee with the Journalist. Thanks for chatting with us today, Collette.
Thanks so much, Beck. This was great.
This was so fun. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Coffee with a Journalist featuring Collette Reitz from Elite Daily. To learn more about the latest tools on OnePitch and to subscribe to our weekly podcast newsletter, head to our website at onepitch.co. We'll see you all next week with even more insights about the journalists you want to learn more about. Until then, start great stories.